midnight, the house was leaking, so I ran over to my close relative's place. However, as soon as I stepped into the bedroom, I unexpectedly encountered a familiar figure. Liam Thorne smirked coldly. What's this? Want to get back together with me? I was instantly taken aback. No way. Why is she here? Immediately, I turned to run, but she held me back. You want to leave after you've come here? In the middle of the night, while I was sleeping, I suddenly felt water dripping on my face. A bit suspicious. I wiped my face with my hand. Turning on the light, I discovered that the ceiling was leaking. To save money, I had rented an apartment on the top floor of an old building. Aside from the cheap rent, there was nothing good about this room. After texting the landlord about the leak, I hurriedly packed my things and ran over to my close relative's upscale neighborhood next door. As soon as I entered the house, I dashed straight to the bathroom. After showering, I happily snuggled into the warm blanket, only to realize something felt off. It seemed there was someone next to me, probably Lucas Quinn. Thinking that, I curiously asked, "Why aren't you sleeping in the master bedroom?" As I spoke, I reached out to touch the person beside me. "Do you use moisturizer? Why is your skin so smooth? Have you already gained weight? Your chest feels soft too. Wait, what the hell is going on? Is this some kind of magic?" While I was still in shock, a soft voice tinged with anger suddenly rang in my ear. "Cora Vance, do you want to seduce me this much? Even showering clean?" Hold on, pause for about 2 seconds. Why does this voice sound familiar? Hold on, pause for about 2 seconds. Why does this voice sound familiar? I quickly rolled out of bed and searched for the light switch. To my surprise, the moment the light turned on, the proud, cold face of my ex-girlfriend appeared before me. At that moment, her face darkened, looking extremely angry. "Why are you here?" I snapped back to reality, realizing I was stark naked. Immediately, I pulled the blanket to cover myself, but as soon as I did, Liam Thorne's face turned bright red. Seeing the scene before me, I quickly tossed the blanket back to her. Oh no, it seems I've caused a huge mess. Thinking that, I panicked and turned to run, but as soon as I reached the door, Liam Thorne grabbed my ear and pulled me back. She pushed me down onto the bed, gritting her teeth and saying, "You want to leave after you've come here? Cora Vance, do you think I'm easy to bully?" Looking at the cold beauty before me, who was gritting her teeth, I instinctively shrank back. "So, what do you want? What do you think I should do?" "If you want that, I wouldn't mind." As I spoke, I averted my gaze, not daring to look directly at her. Unexpectedly, a moment later, Liam Thorne suddenly laughed. "Sorry, I'm not interested in you." Saying that, she prepared to get up and leave, but as soon as she lifted her leg, the blanket got caught in the strap. Next, she lost her balance and fell onto me, her luscious red lips pressing against mine. "Cora Vance, is your house leaking again?" My close relative Lucas Quinn just walked in, and upon seeing the scene before him, he froze. After a moment, he finally reacted. "Sorry for interrupting you too. Please continue." After saying that, he hurriedly ran away. "Wait, buddy. You misunderstood." Half an hour later, I finally made my way from Liam Thorne's room to my close relative's room. Even though it was the middle of the night, neither of us could sleep. Lucas Quinn propped himself up on the bed, looking at me curiously. "You and my sister? She's your sister?" I asked in shock. "What? Doesn't she look like me?" I looked at Lucas Quinn's round face, and then thought of Liam Thorne's beautiful oval face. "Honestly," I said, "there is a bit of a resemblance." Hearing this, Lucas Quinn nodded in satisfaction. "Exactly, if my sister is beautiful, I can't be ugly." Then, he sat up straight and said seriously, "Come clean, what exactly is going on between you and my sister? What else could it be? You didn't tell me beforehand that your sister was here, so this happened. Come on, man." Lucas Quinn clearly didn't believe me. My sister has never liked being close to men, so if it were any other guy in her bed, she would have already broken his legs. "Alright, I admit it. She's my ex-girlfriend." Ex-girlfriend. Lucas Quinn was immediately stunned. Why didn't I know about this? "We dated and broke up while still in college. I only met you after starting work," I explained helplessly.
Damn.
"So you're the painful love, the one who almost made my sister die from heartbreak after the breakup." "What do you mean, die from heartbreak? Wasn't she very happy after we broke up?" "What nonsense are you talking about? You don't know?" After the breakup, my sister became a completely different person. Normally, she was always diligent and positive, but after the breakup, she just holed up at home, looking haggard and lifeless. She even lost weight, and it took her months to gradually recover, but afterward, she became much harder to approach than before. Back in school, Cora Vance was famous as the ice goddess. After a brief interaction just now, I also felt she was much colder than before, but I never expected it was because of me. Cora Vance, why did you and my sister break up? Lucas Quinn looked at me curiously. Actually, it's quite simple. That day I wanted to go watch a movie, but she said she didn't have time. After I watched the movie, I suggested breaking up, and she happily agreed. Since then, we lost contact. Hearing this, Lucas Quinn's eyes widened in surprise. That's it. I nodded honestly. Exactly, that's it. So perhaps the one who hurt your sister was another boyfriend. But as soon as I said that, my hypothesis was immediately dismissed by him. Impossible. My sister only had one boyfriend. If it wasn't you, then who could it be? After chatting for a while, Lucas Quinn yawned tiredly, lay down to sleep, his expression clearly showing the world is vast. Sleeping is the most important. I lay beside him, but couldn't fall asleep at all. Cora Vance and I had been together since our freshman year in college. She was beautiful, smart, and voted the campus belle. So many boys liked her, including me. Countless suitors pursued her, but I was the only one who persistently pursued her from freshman to senior year. And in the first semester of senior year, I finally won over this aloof flower. But even after agreeing to date me, she remained as cold as ever, treating me no differently than anyone else. It seemed she had no demands of me, while I wanted to take a step further, but my enthusiasm was always met with her indifference. So gradually, I felt extremely exhausted. Therefore, after watching the movie alone, I suggested breaking up. Just as I expected, she reacted very calmly, simply saying fine. After the breakup, I got drunk and even thought that without me, Cora Vance would surely feel relieved. But unexpectedly, Lucas Quinn said she was also very heartbroken. Does that mean she once liked me? A ripple stirred in my heart, but quickly settled down. After all, it had been a year since then. Whether she liked me or not was just a thing of the past. The next time I woke up, Lucas Quinn was no longer beside me. He had been in love lately, so he left home early and returned late every day. I yawned and went into the bathroom to wash my face, but as soon as I pushed the door open, I saw a perfect curve and skin as smooth as silk. What is this? I rubbed my eyes, thinking I must be seeing things, but when I opened them, I saw Liam Thorne wrapped in a towel, her face dark with anger as she stared at me. Good heavens! I just accidentally walked in on Liam Thorne while she was showering. I'm sorry. I went into the wrong room. I hurriedly turned to run, but she kept blocking my way time and again. Wrong room? Do you think I believe that? Although it seems a bit unreasonable, but why did you choose to take a shower so early in the morning? Why not at another time? Are you deliberately trying to harm me? Liam Thorne couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. I had to shower early in the morning because of you. What does that have to do with me? May tilted her head, feigning confusion, only to see Liam Thorne lower her voice and grit her teeth, saying, "Who was it that crawled into my blanket last night and kept me awake all night?" Her soft and alluring voice rang in May's ears, instantly making her face flush. So she showered to calm her emotions? Realizing this, May felt a bit shy and couldn't look her in the eye, quickly finding an opportunity to bow her head and slip away. It wasn't until May returned to her rented apartment that her racing heart finally calmed down. At that moment, the landlord had also arrived and was sending someone to make repairs. Seeing May come back, he said, "The leak from last night was due to the rainstorm that accumulated before. What kind of water doesn't matter. The important thing is that this apartment keeps leaking. It's such a tiny room, and it's leaking everywhere. There's no place that isn't damp. In the past month, I've had to move my bed around constantly, with only one corner still dry." After helping the landlord move the bed, May sighed softly. "If this place leaks again, I'll definitely have to move out." After that, May was busy washing sheets, drying the mattress, and tidying up the room, working all day until evening before she could finally rest. While May was sitting by the window sketching a design, Lucas Quinn suddenly called. "Cora Vance, have you moved back? Why not just stay at my place? You don't need to worry about my sister. She was there yesterday because her apartment had been empty for a long time. Today she has already asked a maid to come clean, so she won't be staying long. It's fine. I can still manage here." But he kept trying to persuade May, and only after she promised that if it leaked again, she would move in with him did he finally hang up. May felt very warm inside. Lucas Quinn and May met at work. Initially, they were just ordinary colleagues, but later, because they shared common interests and compatible personalities, they quickly became best friends. Previously, because they often completed their work excellently, They were envied by old colleagues who tried to make things difficult for them. In the end, they managed to get that colleague fired together. After that, Lucas Quinn indulged in a carefree lifestyle, ready to inherit the family business, while May relied on her old clients to take on projects and work from home. Because May was a bit behind schedule today, she stayed up until 2 a.m. before finally sleeping. Unexpectedly, while May was sound asleep, she suddenly felt cold at her feet. She jolted awake. Damn it, it's leaking again. Before she could fully wake up, she hurriedly grabbed a basin and placed it on the bed to catch the water, then pushed all the blankets and pillows to one side. May felt both pathetic and a bit amused. Should she be happy? At least this time, the water didn't fall on her face. In the middle of the night, May could only go to Lucas Quinn's place to crash. After all, he had said that Liam Thorne would only be there for one night, so if May didn't see her, she wouldn't feel embarrassed. Thinking this, May rushed over to the neighboring apartment complex. When she arrived, she intended to go to the guest bedroom, but as her hand reached for the doorknob, she quickly realized the door was closed, just like last night. Normally, if no one was home, the door would be left open. So to be safe, May decided not to sleep in the guest room but in Lucas Quinn's main room. She crawled under the covers, and as soon as she hugged Lucas Quinn, she was instantly taken aback. What the hell? Smooth skin. This feeling is so familiar. I quickly turned on the light, and sure enough, I met the icy gaze of Liam Thorne, and this time I spoke first. Why are you here? Isn't this Lucas Quinn's bed? Time and again, Cora Vance, are you going to say this is just a coincidence? At that moment, I was so angry I could hardly stand it. If not, then what is it? Do you think I crave your beauty? That's a given. Back in college, you looked at me with drool every day. I knew it then. Liam Thorne stopped speaking suddenly, falling silent. Mentioning the past made me feel a bit embarrassed. I scratched my nose and awkwardly said, I was looking for Lucas Quinn, but when I tried to go outside, the door wouldn't open. Seeing me struggle with the door, Liam Thorne walked over. After several attempts, but still unable to open it, she frowned at me. This door was fine just now. Why has it become unstable the moment you came in? Her words were full of implications, as if everything was planned by me. I was almost going crazy, my brain feeling like it was about to explode. But thinking it over, maybe you're not smart enough to plan everything. Liam Thorne nodded, putting on a look of understanding. So frustrating. I glared at her. Liam Thorne, why are you in Lucas Quinn's room? Were you deliberately waiting for me to walk into the wrong room? Hearing this, the corners of Liam Thorne's mouth immediately curled up. It's because I was afraid you would crawl into my blanket like last time, so I switched rooms with Lucas Quinn. So that means Liam Thorne was afraid I would go into the guest room, so she moved to the main room, only to end up with both of us in the main room. How ridiculous. This is truly absurd. But whose fault is it? Right. It must be that damned Lucas Quinn's fault. Didn't he say his sister had left? Thinking this, I angrily pulled out my phone to call Lucas Quinn. Come, open the door, let us out now. But unexpectedly, the call ended automatically. Lucas Quinn didn't pick up. I had anticipated this because that guy always keeps his phone on silent when he sleeps, and he sleeps very soundly, so basic noises wouldn't wake him. Unable to get outside, I turned back to look at Liam Thorne, utterly shocked to see she had already lain down on the bed at some point. Damn it! It turns out she knew I couldn't reach Lucas Quinn, so she quickly claimed the spot on the bed first. Fine, it's all your fault. I gritted my teeth, pulled up the blanket, and jumped onto the bed. Sharing the same blanket and pillow, I could clearly feel the warmth from her body. Where our skin touched, the temperature suddenly rose. I involuntarily recalled the scene in the shower this morning, and my face grew hotter by the second. This is not good. If I really lose control, Liam Thorne will definitely look down on me. But I didn't want to sleep on the floor. Well, since I've come this far, I might as well go all the way. I reached out, wanting to touch her body. I couldn't believe I had gone this far, and the other party still hadn't gotten angry and left. I noticed her body stiffen slightly, but she didn't avoid me at all. Seeing this, I became bolder. Unexpectedly, at that moment, she suddenly grabbed my finger. Cora Vance, do you still dare to say this is a coincidence? I immediately froze, because this time, it was indeed intentional on my part. I did it on purpose. What can you do about it? I acted nonchalant, as if I wasn't afraid of anything. After all, last time I walked into the wrong room, she said she had no interest in me, so now she only had two choices. Either let me do whatever I wanted, or I would sleep on the bed while she slept on the floor. After staring at me for a while, Liam Thorne finally released my hand, resigned to her fate. I saw her get off the bed, take a blanket from the wardrobe, and then lay it on the floor to sleep. Would she really rather sleep on the floor than share a bed with me? I felt a bit disappointed, but then again, I felt refreshed. A cold beauty like Liam Thorne had to sleep on the floor, while I got to sleep on the bed. That was just too good. That night, I slept extremely well. The next morning, when I woke up, I suddenly realized that my soft bed had somehow turned hard. Blurrily opening my eyes, I was met with a stunning face magnified right in front of me. It was Liam Thorne. Damn it. I also know that when I sleep, I won't be at peace, but I really didn't expect to roll off the bed and land on the floor, and on top of that, to crush Cora Vance. Once I regained my senses, I cautiously tried to crawl back up, but suddenly realized something was off. With Cora Vance's sharp instincts, the moment I moved even a little, she would definitely wake up immediately, and at that point, I wouldn't be able to explain myself no matter how many words I had. Thinking that, I decided to stay still and see how things unfolded. In that moment, I couldn't help but stare intently at the face of the woman in front of me. The 5 delicate senses, large round eyes, plump red lips, a face as beautiful as a painting. I unconsciously licked my lips, my throat dry, as if it were about to catch fire. Sister? Are you sick? Why are you still not up at this hour? Lucas Quinn's voice rang out from outside. At that moment, I was startled and wanted to jump up immediately, but the next second I found myself in the same situation as Liam Thorne. My legs were tightly wrapped in the blanket, and as soon as I tried to sit up, I fell back down. Sister? If you're not going to say anything, I'm coming in. Hearing this, I panicked and fumbled to free my legs, but the more I tried to untangle them, the more knotted they became. Just then, Lucas Quinn opened the door and walked in. Seeing me and Liam Thorne rolling on the floor, with blankets and clothes all in disarray, he widened his eyes and instinctively cursed. Damn. Are you two playing around like this? The next second, he bolted out at lightning speed. It's not like that, Lucas Quinn. I reached out towards the door, but in the end, I could only watch him slam the door shut. At that moment, I felt utterly helpless. I sighed, then lay back down on Liam Thorne. Just then, a cold voice suddenly rang out. Aren't you going to get up? Do you want to crush me until I get hurt? At that moment, I snapped back to reality. I want to get up too, but how can I? If you want to get up, then do it yourself. How can I get up when you're lying on top of me like this? Liam Thorne gritted her teeth. Then just stay there. I shrugged, pretending it was fine, but unexpectedly, she was even more stubborn than I was and didn't move at all. Forget it, I'll concede this time. If I stayed in the room with her like this, I didn't know how far Lucas Quinn's imagination would fly. Finally, I managed to untangle the blanket, turned around, and immediately jumped up, ready to head outside. But I found Liam Thorne still in her original position, so I asked curiously, why aren't you moving? Don't tell me I really crushed you to the point of injury? I'm fine, just my arm is numb. After saying that, she propped herself up with her left hand, trying to stand up, but her right arm was clearly a bit stiff, and only her wrist was able to move a little. In that moment, I suddenly remembered that summer back in college. Outside of class, Liam Thorne's favorite place was the library. For me, sitting in the library all day felt like torture. However, just seeing Liam Thorne's face made all my fatigue disappear. I would quietly stay by her side. She would read, and I would sleep. I even often ended up resting my head on her arm and falling asleep. When I woke up, I wanted to leave, but she would say, wait a minute. Time passed quietly, and it took her 50 minutes to finally stand up, one hand holding a book, the other mimicking the same gesture she was making now. At that time, I thought she didn't care about my feelings at all, but now it seemed that things were not as I thought. It seemed she sensed my gaze, so Liam Thorne paused slightly, and I immediately snapped to attention, quickly stepping out of the bedroom. After washing my face, I realized Liam Thorne had left long ago. At that moment, Lucas Quinn appeared out of nowhere, smiling with squinted eyes as he patted my shoulder, saying, "That's great, Cora Vance." I was always worried that if my future brother-in-law was difficult, I wouldn't know what to do. But if it's you, I'm completely at ease. No, Lucas Quinn. And your sister. Lucas Quinn didn't give me a chance to explain, continuing, "Forget it, you don't need to say anything, I understand." After saying that, he slung his backpack over his shoulder and left. I stood there in a daze, unable to help but shout, "What the hell do you understand?" A long while later, I sighed and returned to my rented apartment. This time even the landlord felt guilty. "Young man, I'll refund the remaining rent to you. With leaks like this every day, your rent is only enough for me to fix the roof." "Young man, I'll refund the remaining rent to you. With leaks like this every day, your rent is only enough for me to fix the roof." "All right then. I think I need to find another place." But in this glamorous city, where would I find the money to rent a better place? Although I was very close with Lucas Quinn, I didn't intend to stay at his house because I valued our friendship too much and didn't want anything to affect it. So I contacted a broker to find a house. They introduced me to a few cheap single rooms, but unexpectedly, while viewing the houses, I ran into Lucas Quinn. Next to him was a quite beautiful girl. Compared to Lucas Quinn's designer outfit, she was dressed much more simply. She must be his new girlfriend. Upon seeing me, Lucas Quinn immediately widened his eyes. Well done, Cora Vance. You refuse to stay at my place and go out to rent a house? I'm cutting ties with you. He was fuming, his tone fierce, but with that chubby, childlike face, he didn't look scary at all, just adorable. Seeing that I didn't react, he rushed over and pinched my ear. I quickly raised my hands in surrender. I was wrong, truly wrong. However, Lucas Quinn was still not calmed down. Seeing this, I quickly changed the subject, looking at the girl beside him and saying, "Aren't you going to introduce her?" Hearing this, Lucas Quinn immediately snapped back to reality, his face turning red with embarrassment as he spoke. "This is my girlfriend, Tara Wynn." Then he turned to introduce me to her. "This is my closest buddy, Cora Vance." Tara Wynn and I nodded at each other in greeting. "I think this place is fine, and the price is reasonable." "Tara Wynn, why don't you rent this one?" But the girl smiled gently and said, "If your buddy likes this place, then I'll let him have it. I'll find another place." "No need. He'll stay at my house. That's settled," Lucas Quinn concluded. After that, I offered to pay the rent to Lucas Quinn, but he firmly refused. This was also the reason I didn't want to stay at his house from the beginning. With no other options, I decided to keep that money, thinking that I would buy him a game console for his birthday. Later, Lucas Quinn and Tara Wynn wanted to help me move, but I declined. Just then, my best friend Cameron Lee was free, so I called him over to be my mover. Tonti is like that. Clearly, two apartment complexes are right next to each other, yet one is old and dilapidated, while the other is full of rich people. Because the distance between the two complexes was very close, and I didn't have much stuff, I didn't need to hire a vehicle. Not entirely, mainly because the service fee was too expensive. I thought it wasn't worth it. Cameron Lee and I each pulled a suitcase, with a large bag slung over our shoulders, dragging our stuff to Lucas Quinn's house. As soon as we arrived, we immediately collapsed on the ground, complaining, "I'm exhausted. I'm so tired I can't see straight." I looked up at the ceiling, panting, and suddenly saw the cold face of Liam Thorne. I thought I was seeing things, but when I closed my eyes and opened them again, that face was still there. It was really Liam Thorne, in broad daylight. Why was she here? I quickly jumped up, only to bump into Liam Thorne's chin, and saw her clutching her chin, grimacing and gritting her teeth, saying, "Cora Vance, you tried to seduce me and failed. Now you want to eliminate me?" Wait a minute. Cameron Lee was still here, and she just said that out loud? But it was true that I had tried to seduce her, so in the end, I could only lower my head and apologize. Liam Thorne took some documents from the room and left, glancing at Cameron Lee before slamming the door shut. Cameron Lee then shivered. "Cora Vance, why do I have the feeling that her gaze wants to take my life?" I frowned. "Really? Forget it, don't think about it anymore. Hurry up and help me move." After saying that, I picked up a bag and headed towards the spare bedroom, but Cameron Lee stood still, not moving. He pointed at the room I was standing in, then pointed towards the front door. "Cora Vance, are you living with that girl from earlier?" Huh. I froze for a few seconds, then realized that Liam Thorne had just left this room. Although Lucas Quinn said she was just staying temporarily, I still felt uneasy and called him. "Don't worry, Cora Vance. I've asked my sister, and starting today, she will be living in her own apartment." "Are you sure? Last time you said that, I ended up in a terrible situation. This time, trust me." With Lucas Quinn's firm assurance, I finally felt at ease. After moving the stuff, Cameron Lee and I were exhausted. I handed him a bottle of water. He gulped down more than half the bottle before turning to me. "Is one bottle of water enough? If not, I can cook instant noodles for you with sausages too." "Sounds good." Cameron Lee happily agreed. Then, I went into the kitchen to prepare, but just as I finished cooking 2 bowls of instant noodles, he received a call and hurriedly left before he could eat. So, I had to handle both bowls by myself. I have to admit that in a better environment, my design inspiration was more abundant. After a busy afternoon, I stretched and stood up, took a shower, changed into my pajamas, curled up on the living room sofa, eating watermelon while watching a variety show, feeling utterly relaxed. With a click, the door opened. "Lucas Quinn, you're back? Come here and watch TV." I waved my hand toward the door, but my eyes were still glued to the screen. I felt someone sit down next to me, so I scooped up a big piece of watermelon to taste. I was just talking casually for a long time before realizing. The person sitting next to me wasn't Lucas Quinn but Liam Thorne, and the piece of watermelon on the spoon was right next to her mouth. I was a bit stunned, but Liam Thorne remained completely calm, just opening her mouth to eat the piece of watermelon, sharing the same spoon with me. My heart immediately raced. You? Why are you here again? Lucas Quinn clearly said you went back to your own place. My heart immediately raced. You? Why are you here again? Lucas Quinn clearly said you went back to your own place. Although Lucas Quinn is my good buddy, he is also Liam Thorne's younger brother, so no matter what, I couldn't just kick her out. Then let's agree on this. I'll sleep in the guest room, and you sleep in the master bedroom. No one is allowed to enter the wrong room tonight. Seeing my wary gaze, Liam Thorne's expression turned cold. Humph, as long as you promise not to sleepwalk, it's fine. Don't worry, that definitely won't happen. After Liam Thorne arrived, I didn't want to stay in the living room anymore and returned to my bedroom. This spoon was just used by Liam Thorne, right? My hand trembled slightly, but I still scooped up another piece of watermelon. My heart raced for no reason, and I didn't know why the watermelon tasted sweeter than usual today. Just then, a message suddenly came through from a university group chat. It's been almost a... Sure. Many members quickly agreed. Liam Thorne, are you coming this time? A classmate suddenly asked, as Liam Thorne was quite popular back then, both for her looks and her family background. So many were looking forward to her attending. However, the other end quickly replied, I have something to do that day. Have fun, everyone. Her message immediately dampened the enthusiasm of the group by half. I wasn't particularly interested in this chat and didn't plan to attend because most of my close friends were in other cities, so the likelihood of them coming was low. After graduation, people went their separate ways, so probably only those working in high city would show up for this reunion. But plans can change unexpectedly. A classmate suddenly tagged me. Cora Vance, it's been a while. You must come. The person messaging was Phoenix Chu, a classmate and also my former rival. That's right. If you don't come, it means you're looking down on us. In the end, under public pressure, I had no choice but to reluctantly agree. On the day of the reunion, I took the bus to a 5-star hotel. When I arrived, some classmates were already chatting excitedly inside. They were gathered around Phoenix Chu, laughing and talking. Phoenix Chu, I heard Liam Thorne just took over the family business. Is that true? No. It's true that Lu Corporation will belong to Ru Yan in the future, but she's very stubborn and wants to train herself first. So she started a small company right after graduation. Although it's only been about a year, her company is doing quite well. Phoenix Chu said casually. The other classmates immediately gasped in admiration. As expected of the young lady of Lu Corporation, her thinking is really mature. At that moment, someone spoke up. Phoenix Chu, how's your relationship with Liam Thorne going lately? Hearing this question, Phoenix Chu immediately put on a smug expression. Of course, my parents and Ru Yan's parents have had dinner together several times, so being together is just a matter of time. His words immediately made many men envious. I stood at the door, hesitating whether to go in or not. Just as I was in doubt, I was spotted by Phoenix Chu. He waved at me enthusiastically as if we were very close, but clearly, we had been rivals, and he had always tried to drive a wedge between Liam Thorne and me back in school. After a long pause, I slowly walked over and sat down. After being dumped by Liam Thorne, have you found another girlfriend? Phoenix Chu suddenly asked, a simple question that made my whole body stiffen. Clearly, we broke up amicably, but through this jerk's mouth, it turned into, I was dumped by Liam Thorne. If it weren't for their faces today, I wouldn't have come here even if I had nothing to do. It seems my question was a bit unnecessary, right? After all, a beautiful and talented woman like Liam Thorne isn't someone everyone gets lucky enough to meet, so if you keep using her standards to find a girlfriend, you'll probably be single for life. You're just an ugly duckling from the countryside. Don't dream of soaring high. Phoenix Chu's words made me extremely angry. I think I should leave. It seems like no one is welcoming me here, I said coldly, my expression deadpan as I looked at the smug man in front of me. Wait, Cameron Lee? At that moment, a voice suddenly rang out. I turned to look. It was class monitor Lily Wong, her face flushed with anger as she glared at Phoenix Chu. We're all classmates. Do you really need to go that far? Little Yen. I remained silent. Honestly, this woman is very principled. Back in university, most people were wary of Phoenix Chu's family background and didn't dare to offend him, but Lily Wong was different. Every time Phoenix Chu targeted me, she would step in to stop him. Her character won her many people's favor, and even Liam Thorne supported her continuing as class monitor. Being directly called out like that, Phoenix Chu immediately became furious. Lily Wong, do you like Cameron Lee or something? You? How can you say that? Involving romantic relationships. Little Yen was at a loss for words, both angry and speechless. Phoenix Chu, I snapped. First, my relationship with the class monitor is completely innocent. Second, even if Liam Thorne and I broke up, do you really think someone like you would have a chance? In the end, it wasn't Liam Thorne who dumped me. It was me who dumped her. Humph, you think you're so great? You can't even handle something I threw away. As soon as I finished speaking, Phoenix Chu's face turned ashen, like a pig's liver, and he angrily pointed at me. Before he could say anything, I took the initiative. Others might not know, but what about you? You've been secretly following us on our dates every day, so if you don't know about this, it seems a bit unreasonable, doesn't it? Shut up. Phoenix Chu, exposed for his true self, immediately went wild. Today, I'm going to tear your mouth apart. As he spoke, he lunged towards me, looking like he wanted to bite me into 100 pieces. However, at that moment, a cold voice rang out, freezing him in place. What's all the commotion about? The person who arrived was Liam Thorne, and I couldn't tell if it was an illusion, but it seemed like she was staring right at me. Phoenix Chu, have you forgotten my warning? Upon hearing this, Phoenix Chu's face instantly turned pale, and he rushed towards Liam Thorne in panic. No, wait. Let me explain. Liam Thorne frowned in disgust at him. Call me Liam Thorne. I didn't realize we were so close that you could call me Nguyen. Her straightforward words left Phoenix Chu extremely embarrassed, and the atmosphere became tense. Her straightforward words left Phoenix Chu extremely embarrassed, and the atmosphere became tense. At that moment, Liam Thorne slowly walked towards me, her voice gentle, a stark contrast to her earlier cold tone. Do you want to stay here any longer? I immediately shook my head. Then let's go home. After saying that, Liam Thorne took my hand and left, completely ignoring the curious expressions of those inside. Although the phrase "go home" could be a bit misleading, it didn't bother me at all. On the contrary, it made me feel somewhat satisfied. In the car, I couldn't help but ask Liam Thorne, "Did you warn Phoenix Chu back in college?" "Yes," she answered without hesitation. Then why didn't you tell me at that time? I instinctively clenched my fists, a sense of suffocation rising in my heart. I had thought she knew Phoenix Chu was bullying me but chose to turn a blind eye, which is why I had so easily said the words of parting. But I really didn't expect this. Liam Thorne remained silent for a long time before finally sighing, because I felt it was unnecessary, and I didn't want you to have to worry about the distance between us. My heart involuntarily ached. Indeed, I was a wishy-washy person. On one hand, I wanted her to be on my side, while on the other, I didn't want to trouble her. My throat felt tight, and the heart that had long been calm suddenly throbbed painfully. If I had realized this sooner, wouldn't we still be a couple now? Unfortunately, in this world, there are no ifs. At the moment a year ago when I uttered the words of parting, I had already lost her. That night, I personally cooked a delicious meal for Liam Thorne. Come here and taste the soup I made for you, Cora Vance. My eyes were bloodshot. In fact, I already had the answer in my heart. Back then, every time I saw her studying hard, I would feel heartbroken, and then I would use my old rice cooker to make chicken soup for her. Each time, I would ask her if it was good, but she would only coldly reply, "It's okay." Those two words seemed to have become Liam Thorne's motto, so no matter if I bought her clothes, jewelry, or folded flowers for her, she would only respond with "it's okay." I was very disappointed and heartbroken because no matter what I did, I only received indifference in return. Just then, Liam Thorne's voice pulled me back to reality. I think it's quite good. I didn't expect my cooking skills to be praised, did I? This was the first time she had seriously complimented me like that. It was clearly just a casual remark, but it made my nose tingle. Seeing my reaction, Liam Thorne immediately became flustered. After a moment of thought, she tried to say something else. Cora Vance, you're really good at this. Much better than I thought. Her words were a bit clumsy, but they made me laugh out loud. The next moment, I proudly lifted my chin and said smugly, "Of course, I'm really good at this." After the meal, Liam Thorne took the initiative to clean up the dishes, and I suddenly didn't want to go back to the bedroom anymore. I lay contentedly on the sofa, watching a variety show while humming along to the lyrics of a song. So stupid. While I was lost in my little joy, Liam Thorne had finished washing the dishes. Suddenly appearing in front of me, she mocked me. "Who are you calling stupid?" "You're the stupid one." "No, you're the stupid one." As she spoke, Liam Thorne playfully tapped my head. "What are you doing?" I immediately covered my head, pretending to be in great pain. Liam Thorne's expression suddenly turned tense. She worriedly approached me and gently asked, "I'm sorry. Does it hurt a lot?" Feeling the concern in her words, My eyes suddenly felt a bit sour. Did she still have any feelings for me? Liam Thorne. I choked up. Can you tell me the truth? What do you want me to say? She replied without hesitation. Do you still have feelings for me? I struggled to ask, my gaze filled with anticipation. Time ticked by, and Liam Thorne still didn't give me an answer. In the end, I could only return to my room in disappointment. In the days that followed, my relationship with Liam Thorne made no progress. She continued to treat me coldly, with only one small change. On nights when I was busy designing, someone would bring coffee to me. One day, I suddenly received a message from Lucas Quinn. Mia Fuang, can you come to the house we were going to rent the other day with me? Tara Win, she doesn't need me anymore. Upon receiving this message, I immediately got dressed and headed to the bus station to go to the house we had planned to rent. To my surprise, I ran into Lily Wong at the bus station. Unlike the class reunion the day before, she seemed very cheerful today. Did you win the lottery or something? I teased lightly. She was silent for a moment before slowly saying, my company is downsizing, so I'm unemployed now. Hearing this, I tilted my head in confusion. You're happy about being fired? That's a rare phenomenon. It seemed Lily Wong noticed my skepticism, so she quickly explained, at first, I was afraid I wouldn't find a new job, but unexpectedly, a few days ago, I received an offer from a big company, and the salary is even double what I made at my old company. Really? Congratulations. I was genuinely happy for her. After all, she had defended me during the years I was bullied by Phoenix Chu. This time, I really have to thank you. Thank me? For what? I was a bit confused. You don't know. The company that sent me the offer is Lu Corporation. To be honest, when I was in college, I thought everyone had to rely on themselves, but now I realize that connections are just as important. At first, I didn't even dare to send my resume to Lu Corporation because I thought I wasn't worthy. But, Liam Thorne actually sent someone to extend the invitation to me, and she did it because of you. Just because I stood up for you in college or said a few words to help you out at that class reunion. In fact, Liam Thorne has always cared for you in silence and has done a lot for you. You just didn't notice. Haven't you ever wondered? Why would a rich kid like Lucas Quinn work at your company and then become such close friends with you? Why does Lucas Quinn's house happen to be right next to yours? And why did Liam Thorne, despite being busy, still attend the class reunion the other day? After parting ways with Lily Wong, I couldn't help but think about what she had said. Could it be that I was really wrong? Have I lost someone who cared for me so deeply? To prove my suspicions, I took the fastest taxi I could find to Lucas Quinn's place. When I arrived, the first thing that struck me was a room in utter disarray. Lucas Quinn was sitting on the cold floor, trembling and crying silently. This was the first time I had seen him in such a pitiful state. What's wrong? What kind of man cries like this? I approached him and gently offered my comfort. Lucas Quinn heard my voice and rushed over like he had found a lifeline. Cora Vance, Tara Wynn doesn't need me anymore. She's left me. I just wanted to go watch a movie with her, but she said I was too much trouble, so after the movie, she broke up with me. Lucas Quinn was sobbing, unable to articulate his feelings. Before, I gave her a necklace, and she didn't even wear it out once. The watch she gave me, I didn't wear either, not because I disliked her, but simply because I don't like wearing watches. After he finished speaking, I finally understood the whole situation. Lucas Quinn, calm down and listen to me. I sighed, trying to soothe his emotions. Going to the movies is just a pastime for you, but what about Tara Wynn? She had to skip a whole work shift to go watch that movie. She doesn't come from the same background as you, so everything you take for granted, she has to work hard to achieve. The reason she didn't wear the necklace you gave her might be because it was too expensive for her to bear, but you're not wearing the watch she gifted you has inadvertently created an invisible distance between you two. Look over there. Aren't those the gifts you gave Tara Wynn? Haven't they always been cherished? As I spoke, I pointed toward the cabinet at the head of the bed, where luxurious bags and necklaces were neatly hung, completely contrasting with the simplicity of a rented room. Hearing my words, Lucas Quinn cried even harder. I knew he and Tara Wynn had broken up due to a lack of understanding, just like I had with Liam Thorne before. One person proud, insecure, and sensitive, while the other preferred not to talk much. In the end, they lost each other. Time quietly passed, and I waited until Lucas Quinn's mood stabilized a bit before preparing to help him up to go home together. But unexpectedly, when I turned around, I saw Liam Thorne and Tara Wynn standing at the door. I'm sorry, Tara Wynn, I was wrong. Lucas Quinn sobbed as he rushed over to embrace his girl. At that moment, I turned to look at Liam Thorne. My gaze unconsciously softened. Shall we go home? I saw her look at me, then gently nod. Shall we go home? I saw her look at me, then gently nod. As our fingers intertwined, I couldn't help but ask her, Liam Thorne, you still love me. Quietly loving me in your own way, right? At this moment, she no longer hesitated and gave a slight nod. My heart immediately felt a pang. Indeed, how could there be such coincidences in life? My best friend is the younger brother of my ex, and they live right next door to me, and then Liam Thorne and I keep running into each other. She clearly doesn't like to talk much, but the love she has for me is something I might never fully express. Why didn't you tell me? I choked out. Upon hearing my words, she looked a bit helpless. Because I didn't want you to worry. That afternoon, we exchanged apologies, sorry for hurting each other, and then simultaneously said, it's okay, because the past is behind us and the future is coming. In the quiet of the late night, I slipped into Liam Thorne's bedroom, but this time, both of us were willing, giving all that we had to each other.